All right, guys, now it's time to wrap up with the NFC West. The Cardinals worked on their defense. The Rams picked up an eclectic assortment of players. Seahawks apparently aren't happy with their linebackers, and the 49ers made about 100 trades. So let's get right into it, Jay. The Cardinals took Isaiah Simmons. You like him in the rest of their draft?
Oh, you know I like Isaiah Simmons. I've been talking about him for weeks now. We talk about generational talents, transcendent talents. I'll tell you one thing. This is generational versatility. I'll tell you that much. And when he dropped all the way to the 8th pick, it was a no-brainer. You got to scoop him up. You look about, and then they come back to the third round. They circled back. They picked up some offensive line help in Josh Jones. I actually thought the tackles on Arizona are okay with DJ Humphries and Marcus Gilbert. I'm wondering, I don't know if they can, but I would explore moving Humphries inside the guard because I think those are probably your 3 best offensive linemen just off the bat. I think they need to be on the field together. And then their defensive line, pretty suspect. They doubled up in the 4th round with Lekai Fotu out of Utah and Rashard Lawrence. I like that. I think that's going to help them. And this is a solid draft. I give it a B.
Yeah, I got the Cardinals an A-. Listen, Isaiah Simmons. Let's be real here. Linebacker out of Clemson, 8th overall. Look, if you don't know anything about Isaiah Simmons, hey, just turn on the 2 playoff games. That's all you got to do. I mean, the dude, like, I know they call him a linebacker, but I mean, he played cornerback, linebacker, defensive. He played literally every position you can play on the defense, and he did it at a high level. It just, the opposition was better. That's all it was to it. But that guy showed, like, I knew of him, but when I seen him in those 2 playoff games, I was like, this dude is insane. Look at this dude. I guess he about to be I thought he was a transformer. I was waiting on Megatron. Like, this dude is crazy. So, with that said, hey, he's a very explosive runner and jumping athlete. We seen that. The dude can do it all. He's all over the field. His second gear, he got a second gear like no other. His sideline to sideline range is very elite because of that second gear. So when you think you have him beat, you don't really have him beat until the play is over, is what I'm trying to say there, because he can move, he can catch you, he can make you regret making a bad decision. His instincts near the line of scrimmage. So when I said that he played all over the field, if it was one time I seen him and I was like, I guess that could be better, it could be when he lines up next to that defensive line. He could work better with that, work on his instincts, how to anticipate, how to, when to swim, when to twist, when to hit the edges. He can work on that. But the dude is so good, that won't take long. Get him a good coach, get him a good mentor. That'll get taken care of. The second pick, Josh Jones, offensive tackle out of Houston, took him with the second pick. Listen, my guy here, to Jay's point, I think this might be the person that they need to move to guard. It's just simply because he's so good at getting to that second level. See, you need the tackles to make sure they're pushing the rush outwards. Whereas the guards, you need the guards to be moving a lot. The guard and center combo need to be pushing that power to, backwards. And this guy's really good at climbing to that second level for the linebackers. So I think maybe you can put him in guard and get away with it. He comes out his stance very quickly. He's always on track when pulling. That's also a good thing. Tackles pull, but guards usually pull a little harder than tackles. You don't really want to be pulling your tackles out that much, especially in the NFL when everybody's so much faster. So you usually want to switch your guards if you do. So those are the 2 of his positives that I like. That's why I do agree with what Jay said about moving one of them. I think should be him. His negative is he need to work on his sitting down and his punching and getting his feet set. I understand that it's very hard when you're asking these 300-plus guys to sit there in the stance for so long and be able to, as soon as that ball is snapped, punch, move, feet slide, set, whatever the case might be. But listen, you're in the NFL, bro. That's part of the bill. You got to get that better. You got to get more in unisons. It is what it is. That should come. And then Lekai Forte, the defensive tackle out of Utah, they took him with the 118th pick. Very massive frame. Carry his weight very well. I think it got something to do with his Samoan heritage. But he carries that weight very well. He is not a guy that you can single block a lot. You will be bringing double teams. That's just all it is to it. once he get his feet underneath him and understand how the pro game work, I think he'll be very, very, very solid defensive tackle. But with that said, you're just going to be using him in the inside for the most part. Listen, I haven't seen much out of him to make me think that you can sometimes put him on the end or sometimes make him a pass rusher. He's not really a threat as much as an edge rusher, which makes him kind of one-dimensional. So he got some things to learn. I thought it was very, very, very solid draft for them. Well, actually a very good draft, I should say. So I gave the Cardinals an A-.
Yeah, I mean, you got one of the best players in the draft. You fleeced on a trade with your second-round pick, and you got a bunch of big guys. I mean, what's not to love? Like I already said about Isaiah Simmons, he's not a pick the Cardinals had to make, right? I mean, they could have taken Derek Brown, which filled another big need. They could have went to the tackle department and early for Kyler Murray's protection. It was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league last year. But they spent it on a guy that can do it all on the defense. And he can do it all well. You know, I still have a little bit of a reservation because of how technical the NFL is. If a defensive coordinator tries to throw too much at him too fast, you know, he could slip up a little bit. I have a slight concern, but I think he's so talented. As long as his coordinator knows how to use him and they keep it small at first and let him kind of grow into it, he's going to be an absolute star from day one. And he's the single biggest upgrade they could have made to a defense that allowed the most yards in the NFL last year. So I really like that pick there. What surprised me a lot was Houston's Josh Jones tumbling all the way down to 72. This guy had a 93.4 from Pro Football Focus, and take those ratings for what you will, but that 93.4 this last year would take him second only to Penei Sewell from Oregon, the consensus number 2 pick next year's draft. So yet another premium player in the third round, the back of the third round. Oh, and then by the way, your Derek Brown hole got filled by not only a monstrous helping of Rashard Lawrence, but you also got Likai Fotu to enter there as well. So you doubled up in that position, and I'm not going to knock teams for doing that and improving their attack at the line of scrimmage. I would have maybe made one of those guys another guard or tackle, but it is what it is. And then also, Benjamin in the 7th he was one of the guys that was on the best available board at like noon on the 3rd day. And he was there all the way through the 7th round. So they should have gotten a steal. And by the way, did we mention that they got DeAndre Hopkins for their 2nd round pick this year? So I factored that in. I give the Cardinals an A. All right, Drink, we got the Rams up next. What you think of the Rams?
I gave the Rams that hot B- on my rating. It's pretty on the low end. Unlike Jay, I try not to beat everybody in, but B- that's on the low end. The way I've been grading these teams. Listen, they spit the first pick on a Ty Gurley replacement. I'm guessing that's what he is. On Cam Akers, the running back out of Florida State with the 57 second pick. Real tough finisher. We seen what he did at Florida State, and Florida State was a downright train wreck, and he still was able to make stuff happen. I hate it for anybody that's a Florida State fan. But he's able to shed those arm tackles and maintain his balance very, very well through contact, which is what you need in the NFL. You need a running back that can get hit and keep going. He has sudden feet that helps him elude sudden traffic. So when you have those safeties, those cornerbacks come flying into the pile, if that running back know how to chop them feet the right way, they usually get out of those piles. That's what we've seen Derrick Henry do in the offseason very well this year. That's why he was so successful in the postseason this year. If you look at his feet work, that is very important for running back. And then one of his many downfalls I had for him is, as far as out of the backfield catching threat, I didn't see a whole lot of that. Now, that could have just been a Florida State offense. I don't know. So I'm not going to beat them up too much, but I do know in today's game, you do need your running back to be able to come out and make catches out of the backfield. I did not think he was a natural pass catcher out of the backfield, so that was one of my knocks. And then with the second pick, they took Van Jefferson, a wide receiver out of Florida, with the 57th pick. Listen, it seemed like the Rams really like the state of Florida. That's neither here nor there. Above average relief against press. We know in NFL you're going to play a lot of press, so being able to get out of those presses is very, very special, and it's something valuable because you're going to play a lot of that in the NFL. Very good attention to detail, which allows him separation. He's like one of them guys that got that sneaky ability. Every time you see him, you're like, hey, man, how did this dude get open? He has very good attention to detail. That's how he gets open. But my downfall for him is he does lack top-end speed when running vertically. So he can, he's going. this is why a lot of wide receivers get overthrown a lot because the quarterback think they got somebody out there. Oh, he's so open, let me throw it. And then you find out he's slow as a slug. I mean, like, what's the point of you being open if you can't actually catch up to the ball? Can't just be throwing the ball straight at you. So that is one of those things. His top end speed is not the best, but we'll see. And then with that third pick, they took Terrell Lewis, the defensive end out of Alabama, with the 84th pick. Listen, very good at keeping his eyes on the football. He threw the blocks. He don't usually lose the football. And he builds momentum as a downhill rusher. So if he gets off that block, it's a wrap. He's going to be in that backfield. Somebody going to get it. Somebody going to get this work. I don't know. It might be the quarterback. Somebody going to get it. But one of my major knocks on him is he's very, very injury prone. We like to talk about how injury prone Tua was. This young man was way more injury prone than Tua was at Alabama. Injuries. He lost his 2017 season mostly to injury, and he lost all of the 2018 season to injury. That's the reason he got picked where he got picked. But with that said, I gave the Rams a B-.
Yeah, we're getting into the grades that weren't so good here. So if you was waiting for that A that I haven't given out tonight, you're gonna be waiting for a while because I didn't give one out to these two divisions. Rams get a D+. They had a C-. Then the more I looked at, the more I didn't like it, so it went down to a D+. Cam Akers. Only gripe I have with that pick, because it was one of their better ones, is that it wasn't J.K. Dobbins. But make no mistake, Cam Akers is big time. I think the amount of success that he had at Florida State behind that offensive line that Jimbo Fisher just neglected to do anything about before he ran off to Texas A&M. What he was able to accomplish is absolutely incredible. I can only hope he can continue that with the Rams. But then after that, I just don't know what we're doing. Van Jefferson in the second round, I'm seeing a whole lot of fourth-round grades on him, so I don't know what we're doing here. I understand that you lost Brandon Cooks, but I don't know what we're panicking for because we got Robert Woods, we got Cooper Kupp, and you may not know this, but Josh Reynolds is okay. He's pretty good. So I still think they're fine at wide receiver. And then my bigger problem with this draft is what they didn't do. Inside linebacker. You lost Corey Littleton, and then besides him, I don't remember much of what you had back there last year, and you didn't address that until the 7th round. So Clay Johnson, I guess just good luck. We'll see you in there. And then the cornerback position, you didn't take one. So I guess Jalen Ramsey will be responsible for both sides of the field. You're going to have to pay this guy a lot of money if he's going to cover both sides. So good luck on that. So we don't want to draft a corner, but we're going to double up on safeties with Terrell Burgess and Jordan Fuller. You got Taylor Rapp and John Johnson. They're okay. You could do worse. I just don't. I don't like this. I really don't. This is a D+. And off topic, foreshadowing. Make no mistake. No later than next year, the Rams about to be in the basement in NFC West. They're heading in the wrong direction, and no amount of genius from Sean McVay will save them.
Well, if y'all haven't noticed so far, if you're taking your online class with these two professors, take Drake, not Professor J, because
you ain't lying.
But he's right about this draft. I'm much closer to him. This is a really mad draft for me. Akers, watched every snap he played at Florida State. A little bit of a homer, but this dude's really good. Like Jay alluded to, I'm telling y'all, not this past year, but the year before, they fielded the worst offensive line in Division I college football. I will fight anyone in the street without my shirt on over that. I'm not kidding you. I'm that serious about it. I cannot stress how much the deck was stacked against Cam Akers. And it was just the offensive line. It was the fact that Florida State said, hey, this is all we got. Good luck. So it wasn't really hard to figure out what their offensive game plan was. The fact that he produced like he did, it was really special. This guy's going to be really good. I think the few issues, like Drake hit on one of them, but also he's got a few vision-related issues, I think. And sometimes, he tries to hit that home run every play, and he's gotten better about it. But he's one of those guys you'll see cut up, and then he'll try to cut back. You're going, oh, God, what's he doing? And he loses 4 yards, and you're like, okay, what was that? But I think he's got a lot of that athleticism still, and he's got a lot of things that made him a 5-star originally. He's going to be a good player. But the thing is, when you start looking at other picks, like you said, Jay, you get to Van Jefferson. Yeah, I'd love him in the 4th round, but in the 2nd for a position you didn't need. Terrell Lewis, nice, but can he stay on the field? Is he going to be healthy? I mean, can you afford to roll the dice on a guy like that in the 4th round? 2 safeties, a kicker. You just have this hodgepodge, and you start looking at the draft versus what they need, and it wasn't even close. You got all these big contracts that are coming up or already signed. You haven't paid Jalen Ramsey yet, and you gave 2 first-round picks for him, so you know you're going to want to pay him, right? I don't know. I gave it a C, and that's probably being a bit generous. It's going to be some tough times in Los Angeles. They don't figure something out. All right, Jay, we got the Seahawks up next. You kind of alluded to it. Not good, huh?
Yeah, it's okay. Los Angeles Rams. The Seahawks did even worse. They got that straight up D, no plus on it. So look, you know what? There's sometimes with these teams, they just think they got the Seahawks. Regardless of this draft, the Seahawks gonna be fine. They're gonna be good. But I don't know what John Snyder and Pete Carroll are doing. It's almost like you just walk in here. Hey, we still got Russell Wilson, right? Yeah, he's still here. Okay, we're good. We'll just do whatever, which is what I'm looking at. Jordan Brooks, I don't know what we're doing taking a linebacker that had, I don't know, I'm seeing a lot of third-round grades, and we taking him in the first round. I think he went ahead of Patrick Queen, by the way, which is just egregious.
Sure did.
Meanwhile, Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright are still really, really good last time I checked, so it's not like they just dying for linebacker help. But I will say this, that secondary, they could use a little help back there, but I don't think we did much in that department. So I guess Trey Flowers, Shaquille Griffin, his contract about to expire, them safeties. I'll just tell you, it's not the Legion of Boom. I don't know if Pete forgot that they all gone, but they're not there. And then I look at offensive tackle for this team every season, and shout out to Dwayne Brown, who I think they got him last year from Houston. I think they stole him from Bill O'Brien. But outside of that, he's 34 years of age, so I'm not sure how much longer he's going to play at a high level. And then I don't even know what they got at right tackle, a pencil cup or something. But I guess Russell Wilson will just avoid all the sacks again, like he always does. So it ain't even going to matter. They're still going to win about 10, 11 games. But then go ahead and take this hot D with this draft.
Pause. So I gave the Seahawks a B minus. Listen, yo, I'm sorry. Sometimes Jay just tell up these teams, and I have to like rethink of what he said, and it kind of catch me sometimes. With the first pick, they took Jordan Brooks, the linebacker out of Texas Tech, with the 27th pick. Listen, Jay, absolutely right. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Are we playing football or basketball? What are we doing? Because this ain't it. You ain't finna get me we only got one semester of this guy. We didn't know. No, this is football. You damn sure knew what you was getting out of Jordan Brooks, the linebacker out of Texas Tech. Especially when, like Jay said, you had Patrick Queen on the board. Well, what are we doing here? So now you're going to tell me, hey, we're trying to get the linebacker core. We want the linebacker core of the future. So why you didn't get Patrick? All right, cool. Linebacker core of the future. Hey, but with that said, hey, he was consistent as a solo tackler all 4 years in college. He was also a 4-year starter at Texas Tech, so that might have been one thing that made him think, hey, 4-year starter, guy got a lot of play, so maybe that's a reason. I don't know. He's very quick to diagnose and key in on a run, so he's a very good linebacker against the run. So with that, I would caveat and say, one of my knocks on him is he gets lost a lot in space as a linebacker. One thing about the Big 12 is we knock on them as far as defense go, but offensively they're usually pretty high potent up and down the field. And he was one of them dudes in his NASA spacesuit, lost in space. He just floating around, one step for man, all that good stuff, right? So I mean, maybe all the other stuff outweighed that, and they wanted to draft him a lot earlier than they had to. And then their second pick went to Darrell Taylor, the defensive end out of Tennessee with the 48th pick. Look, he has impressive ability to bend them corners. He dips at the top of his rush, which is what you need to get around those offensive tackles. You got to make that offensive tackle bend down. If you get them down, you get around them, it's a wrap. That's a sack for you. His play strength is a big plus. He's a very strong guy. So I do think that this pick was better than the first pick, in my opinion, but whatever. So that was good. But one of my knocks for him is he has a hard time timing snaps. For a defensive end, that's usually one of their qualities is it separate the boys from the man, so to speak, is when those defense ends know how to kind of like time the snaps and get off the snap really fast. That's how you get your Von Millers. That's how you get your Lawrence Taylors. That's how you get your Reggie White. These guys that's just tormenting people. It's because they're very, very good with the snap count. That's something he needs to work on. He's kind of sloughed the ball at times, maybe unmotivated. I don't know, but that is one thing that he's gonna have to work on. The third pick, they took Damian Lewis, the offensive guard out of LSU, with the 69th pick. He plays with a lot of measuring and control. Like he knows how to stay in place. He don't get a lot of penalties. A very low penalized guy, which is good because offensive linemen, they don't get the same amount of OTAs as everybody else. So the offensive line is always the part that takes the worst hit when it comes to lack of practice. And with the coronavirus around, ain't no telling what the offensive line is going to look like around the NFL once they do play. But he's a bulldozer down blocker. He's gonna clear that way for the runners. Don't you worry about it. He's gonna clear that way. But my downfall for him is he has very limited quickness. He sometimes I'm gonna say once every 10th play he probably show you some quickness that ain't gonna get it done. I tell you right now, that's gonna put you right over there with my boy Cam Fleming. Put you over there with him. Put you on the poster, and you're going to send some guy to the Pro Bowl just that quick. So, I gave the Seattle a B.
Yeah, I have a better analogy. It's actually like when both your folks are yelling at you. Jay's the one that comes in first and, puts you on blast, and they go out of the room to cool off. And then Drink comes in, he sits down in your bed. He goes, hey, listen, champ, you screwed up, right? But, the Seahawks are glad that Packers exist because they probably have been my least favorite draft as well. Brooks was not only probably the biggest reach besides maybe Arnett in the first round, but it was also the least needed position like y'all talked about. I mean, I get that Wagner and Wright aren't exactly spring chickens, but you take this run-stuffing linebacker, he's not Bobby Wagner. He ain't going to help you this year all that much. He shouldn't have went this high, and he's not going to cover like he does. And then you not only do you take Darrell Taylor, which is more of a, like you said, Drake, he's more of a project, defensive end. He's got a lot to work on. You traded up for him. He might help you later, but he's not going to help you this year that much. He needs to get that skill set improved, and he's got a lot to like, but it's going to take time. I go down the list. The first pick I like is the Damian Lewis pick, which I think they took 8 offensive linemen. At this point, I don't even care what he plays. Just is he big? Can he play offensive line? Okay, great. Thanks. Good job, Seattle. They threw Wilson some bones on day 3. Colby Parkinson, DJ Dallas in the 4th, and then Freddie Swain and Sullivan from LSU, the other tight end. Neither of the tight ends are really traditional. They're going to have to kind of change up. They're both kind of like niche tight ends. DJ Dallas is a reach in the 4th, and Freddie Swain, I do kind of like him. I saw a good bit of Florida, and he flashed at times. But it's a 6th round pick. I mean, how much can he really help you early on? And overall, there was just too much offensive talent in this draft to mess around, taking a luxury pick on a linebacker and then a pass rush project. Seattle could have done a lot more to make the right moves, and I didn't like it either. I gave him a hot D as well. All right, Jake, we'll wrap up with the 49ers. So what do you think about the Super Bowl runner-ups draft?
Listen, I know, a lot of people talk about the 49ers going to come out here with a Super Bowl hangover. And then I guess that hangover kind of started with the draft because I just think they could have did a lot better. I do understand that they didn't have, a full arsenal of picks, but the picks that they had, they just didn't handle them well. It's like a trust fund, baby. If you give them the money, what you expect, they didn't have to work for it. So when you go do something stupid, you can't be mad at them. So I gave them the whopping C-. They first picked Javon Kinlaw, the defensive tackle out of South Carolina, 14 overall. Now I did like this pick, I would say. A menacing bull rusher. He's the type of guy, he ain't going to hit you with the swim and the twist. He's just going to run you over. So hopefully you know how to sit in front of him because if you don't know how to sit, he's just going to run you over. That's what he do. Nothing special about it. I'm stronger than you. I'm going to get to your quarterback. He's very explosive, have a very explosive first step, meaning when he get that first step and he runs over you and then wipe his cleats off on you, that's your fault. You should have been a little faster. All right. And but one of my knocks I got is because he's so strong, he has not learned the subtleties of control and efficiency. So he don't know how to when to better utilize your energy, when to use a twist, when to do that, because he don't use none of that. He just throws over you. sorry, son, that makes for a very short career in today's NFL. So you're going to have to learn how to get a little more control, use a little more efficiency so you're not going 100 miles per hour every single play. And then with the second pick, Brandon Akuki, like, look, listen, who mans is this? Who mans is this? Wide receiver out of Arizona State with the 25th pick. Yeah, he busts out of the Sims very well, giving his quarterback open windows. He did play in the Pac-12. This dude got drafted really, really high. Is that just me or is that everybody else? Since he got drafted really high to me. I did not see him being a first-round quarterback, but whatever. He has instincts and in the open field, he got the vision of a running back, which is very good for a guy that's going to be forced into the action like he will be because how high he got drafted. One of my knocks on him is he'll need to add some physicality to his game. He got a lot of finesse game. He's going to need to hit the gym, get on that Jordan package, get some muscle on, so he'll be ready to give the punishment as well as take it a little bit. So, yeah, that's my one knock on him. And then the third pick, they got Colton McBinsky. The offense tackle out of West Virginia with the 153rd pick. What I've seen, he's generally poised, well-balanced, and pass protection, which is good. He has the ability to limit most edge speed in his quick sets, meaning he got good feet pretty much is what I'm saying. He can move. He can trace that arc very well. But my one knock on him is his initial pop is lacking. So if you're a guy like, let's say, Kinlaw, when y'all both meet, his initial pop don't really give you enough juice, so you can't tend to bull rush him over and get to the quarterback. So he's going to need to straighten that part of his game up. But overall, I gave the 49ers a C-.
Yeah, 49ers, they get a C. This is about as average as you can get. And my biggest problem with the 49ers, and we've talked about this several times, I thought the 49ers were a prime team to trade back. And, they hit me with the rope-a-dope. They traded back one pick in the first round, then took Kinlaw. That was a Tampa Bay trade where Tampa Bay got Tristan Wirfs. And then they, some reason, they trade up to get Brandon Ayuk, and it has nothing to do with Ayuk. This is the position and the type of the identity that the 49ers have. This is a running football team where we know full well there's going to be a game next season where Jimmy Garoppolo throws like 9 passes. It's going to happen. And I don't know, Ayuk might catch one of them. But I'm just looking, there's not really that much else to evaluate. Charlie Warner, I saw him at Georgia. I'm sure George Kittle will be awful impressed to have him in there. And I don't know, maybe you can tote his cleats or something. But listen, San Francisco has some problems at linebacker. They're a little thin. And then at cornerback, I'm telling you, these are positional groups that we're going to keep an eye on, and we're going to watch them. And because I don't think they're all that great at them. Wide receiver, you can tell me how much they need wide receivers as much as you want to. They got George Kittle, they got Deebo Samuel, and Kendrick Bourne. He can play. That's about all you need when you're going to be on one of the teams that are going to run the football just as much, if not more, than anybody else in this league. That's just the way it is. That's Kyle Shanahan. That's what he's going to do. And then Javon Kinlaw, the funny thing about this pick, and we haven't talked about it, I get it. You traded away DeForest Buckner, but you still got Eric Armstead. You just paid him. You got Nick Bosa, and you got Dee Ford. Solomon Thomas was probably like, hey, now I get to play a little bit more. And he's like, no, we bringing in Kinlaw. You can go ahead and still be the 5th first-round pick or whatever. You don't even worry about it. By the way, we declined your option too. So
that
cool
conversation
story.
we was having.
But
we're gonna decline that.
This is a C. I don't know what this is. I really don't. This whole division, I don't know. When Arizona had the best draft, and I'm not sold on Steve Keim. I don't know. Take a C, live with it.
Yeah, I got it a little higher. I guess I factored in the trades a good bit because of like the Trent Williams trade. I kind of like to add those into the fact if you're using your direct picks in this draft. I do think the first round picks were good. Kinlaw, I liked him as high as 9. So I think that if you thought he was the best prospect left on the board, taking him is a smart move. Again, it is a super luxury pick for him, no doubt about it. I've got to think at some point, like, you got enough dudes, you can look at another position. But this guy did tumble down a little bit. A couple other teams decided they wanted wide receivers or something else. So I get it. He had the best pass rush kind of upside at defensive tackle in the whole draft. And then Ayuk is a guy that I think that, like, they still had to address the wide receiver position. And I'm sure Shanahan is already dreaming of how to use him. But you are right. They do have that identity as a running first team. So maybe they want to get back to more of a balance. But again, that's an extraordinary investment of another first round pick. Because like we said, this wipe them out of rounds 2, rounds 3, and round 4. I mean, that's the meat potatoes of your draft. You know, those day 2 and early day 3 guys, those are the guys that those contracts keep your contender contending. And my issue is, yeah, I think that this draft made them better this year, but year 2, year 3, year 4, you're going to start missing some of those cheaper guys and those extra picks. So I think it was a little maybe greedy to go ahead and get 2 of those first round picks that you had instead of trying to turn one of them into more picks. The flipping the 5th for Trent Williams is nice. And then I do like DeJuan Jennings in the 7th. Remember, he was the guy that caught that infamous Georgia Hail Mary from Josh Dobbs a couple years ago. Yep. But he averages 7.5 yards after contact, and he does juke people out of their shoes. That sort of offense the 49ers do like to run when they do kind of throw the ball. He fits in well, so it could be a steal. But, yeah, you know, overall, I think I gave it a B, but I get y'all's points. If I was going back, I may give it a little bit lower grade, but we'll see how it plays out.